Echomaster's driver-responsive safety systems, including cameras, monitors, and sensors, help make vehicle new or old safer, easier, and more convenient than ever before.
So here at Echomaster, we're guaranteed to have a camera that fits your needs. Whether it's a license plate style camera, a behind the license plate style camera, an OEM style camera such as a third brake light, or a tailgate handle replacement, we have a camera that fits almost every need. Some of the unique features about our cameras are our full license plate frame cameras are 50 state legal, which means they don't cover up any of the information on the license plate, which makes every cop happy. Our universal style cameras have all unique features where they can be used as forward cameras, reverse cameras, with or without parking lines. This PCAM 110 has very unique features where it can be mounted under a lip or actually on a vertical surface facing down, such as a tailgate handle camera, if a tailgate handle camera is not available for the vehicle. Our side cameras, the PCAM BS1, have flexible bases so that they can be mounted on surfaces that are not completely flat, and they double-sided here to the bottom of the surface so that there's no holes to be drilled in the vehicle. For example, when using the FC Wrangler Pro RSC, you can use the PCAM BS1s mounted to the side body of the Jeep, so that when you remove your Jeep doors, you still have full side view when you turn your turn signals on, even though you don't have mirrors there any longer. Whether it's a vehicle specific kit you're looking for or a universal style kit, Echomaster has you covered. We have 109 vehicle specific cameras and harnesses that integrate directly into the vehicle without modification. Some of the universal kits that we have are the PMK73BS, which are going to come with our 7.3-inch widescreen mirror monitor with split screen options. Included in that kit would be a PCAM 10L, which would mount behind the license plate, and 2 blind spot cameras for either side of the vehicle. At Echomaster, we have a wide range of rear view mirror replacements to display your brand new cameras that have been put onto your vehicle on the rear view mirror. These mirrors range in monitor sizes from 3.5 inch all the way to 7.3 inch, with features such as auto dimming, adjustable parking lines, or even turn signal switching for those blind spots. We also have more feature-rich mirror monitors, such as the MM4320 DVR, which features a 1080p DVR front-facing camera right on the back of the mirror. That information is recorded to an SD card loaded right on the side of the mirror. Additionally, we have Bluetooth mirrors and 7.3-inch widescreen mirrors that have turn signal capabilities built right into the mirror. At Echomaster, we have a wide range of parking sensors, whether it's our famous rear mount sensors, our speed controlled CAN bus front mount sensors, both available in 4 colors. Our pickup truck sensors, which come with an extended harness and the zinc coating so that your bumpers don't rust, all the way into our hitch scan system, which is a simple replacement part that requires no wiring to the vehicle. Hi, I'm Don from AMP Global. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our fully integrated side camera system with proprietary mirror caps for 2014 to 2017 General Motors trucks. The Echomaster system comes out of the box with 2 side camera mirrors. It has the ability to add 2 optional cameras of your choice, whether it be trailer, optional chimso mount, or front mount cameras. Once installed, the Echomaster side camera system allows the user to have integrated turn signal cameras. You can have full control over the side cameras without affecting any of the factory functions. With the simple press of the back button, The user has full control over the cameras, allowing viewing of any camera at any time. Even a mix-up of the cameras. And with the optional Chimsel camera, you can even view your stuff in the bed of the truck. Although a lot of vehicles today come factory equipped with backup cameras, like this 2015 Jeep Cherokee, it leaves a lot to be desired from the safety perspective. So today we're going to install a CAM MV6 on the back of this vehicle in place of the factory camera, adding 4 optional views so that the user has a lot more options when backing up the vehicle. We're going to install PCAM BS1s on the side mirrors to give turn signal activated cameras. Also a PCAM 201 on the front of the vehicle that's activated by speed, so that the user at slow speeds can have a front mounted camera when parallel parking or pulling up close in the garage. The FC CH41 RSC kit comes with 3 cameras in the box. The PCAM BS1s for the side and a PCAM 201 for the front of the vehicle. If the vehicle's not equipped with a backup camera, then the PCAM 201 could be moved to the back of the vehicle as the reverse camera. It also includes the pack integration modules that plug and play into the factory's vehicle infotainment system and read the signals from the CAN bus, activating the cameras when you hit the turn signals or when you're at the desired speed. When installing the PCAM BS1s onto the side mirrors, it's simplest to remove the door panel, remove the mirror from the car, and remove the glass from the mirror itself. You'll then mount the camera on the bottom, drill a small hole, run the wire in through, down through the door and into the vehicle. Now that we have all of the cameras installed into our Jeep Cherokee, let's take a look at how it works. As we put the vehicle into reverse, our new reverse camera comes on, showing us a 180-degree view behind the vehicle. By pressing the button on the CAM MV6, we can split it into 4 multiple views out of the back of the vehicle to give us a better perspective of where we're backing up. Once we've backed out of the spot and we start to move forward, we've programmed our BCI CH41 to have speed sense front camera control, meaning that from 0 to 5 miles an hour, it's automatically going to turn on the front camera. Once we hit 5 miles an hour, the camera will turn off and our factory screen will return. Along, we can use our left and right turn signals to activate our blind spot cameras to see traffic coming up from behind.
Hi guys, Tom Turner here with AM Global. Today we want to introduce to you our Echomaster blind spot elimination kit for the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van. It's the most popular commercial van on the market today. That's why we decided to make a kit for it. The kit comes in this box. The part number for Echomaster is going to be FCTP-MB1103. We also have an 1102 kit. The 1102 kit is if you want to replace the factory radio with an aftermarket radio like a Kenwood or a Pioneer. The 1103 kit that we have here today for you is to interface with the factory radio that comes in the late model Sprinter van. We have an 1101 kit. The 1101 kit is going to be used for the Sprinter van with a radio delete option. We also have an 1104 kit. The 1104 kit doesn't interface with any radio. What it does is allow you to add any monitor that you want. You can add a mirror, you can add a dash mount monitor, you can do whatever you want with it. So you can see we have a kit for all your needs for your Sprinter van. Let me go through the parts. These are the parts that I have laid out before me today, and let's go through each one of them. Here we have our Radio Pro, our PAC Radio Pro interface module. This is going to interface with the van. Plugs into the factory radio harness. This is our interface harness that's going to plug into that. Here's our PAC VS41 interface module. This module here deciphers the CAN signals from the turn signals and the reverse trigger. This is our harness that plugs into that and accepts all of our cameras. Here we have our mirror caps. We have a left side, right side mirror cap. These mirror caps are compatible with either standard mirrors or the tow mirrors, the extended tow mirror that the Sprinter fan has. Here are the camera inserts. We have two different types of inserts that are both compatible with the standard mirror or the tow mirror. These inserts are labeled to make it easy for the installer. LHT is for left-hand tow mirror, RHT is for right-hand tow mirror, LH left-hand mirror, RH right-hand mirror. These inserts are very critical because they determine the angle that camera is going to be sitting at on the end of the mirror. We also have camera extensions. We have a driver side extension and a passenger side extension. One's a little longer than the other, so they're made specifically for the Sprinter van. You're not going to have a whole lot of excess cable in this van when we're done with this. This is made for the van. Here we have our actual camera lenses. Power supplies that plug into the cameras and into the extension harnesses. And if the van is already equipped with a factory backup camera, we give you the adapters that allow you to retain that factory backup camera. Just simply plug these in. If it doesn't have a backup camera, you can add a backup camera to this van and plug that into this kit. You also have the ability or capability to plug a front camera into this van as well. So what we're basically doing here is eventually completely eliminating blind spots all the way around this van and making it a lot safer for the end user to drive. All right guys, so that's all the parts that are included in the MB1103 kit, and let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you how to install this. All right, we're going to go ahead and remove the mirror glass. We're going to want to take the top glass and push it all the way in so that we can get our hand here behind that bottom glass piece. Go ahead and pop that out. We've got a couple connectors here. Those connectors are for the defroster. Go ahead and just slide those off of there. Now that we've got that removed, we're going to want to go ahead and tilt the top piece of glass all the way out. Once I have the top piece of glass tilted all the way out, I want to get my hands up underneath of that so that I can create enough surface area and enough leverage to go ahead and pop that out of there. I don't want to just grab it by the corners or push on it with my thumbs. I'll risk the chance of breaking the mirror. Looking at myself in the mirror never gets old. Two more connectors up here. We're going to go ahead and disconnect those. Sit that piece of glass aside. We've got some Torx screws here. They're T20 Torx screws. We're going to want to go ahead and unscrew that so that we can disconnect the rear or front cap of this mirror. Okay, I've removed 4 of the T20 screws and that front ring is going to come off now. I'm going to set that aside carefully. All right, now that front cap is going to come off and we're going to disconnect the bulb, turn signal bulb. Here we have the front cap with the turn signal bulb and lens. So now I've removed the turn signal lens and this is where our camera insert is going to go. All right, so here we're going to go ahead and remove the door panel so that we can fish our wire from the mirror through the door and then through the boot on into the dash cavity. The first step is basically unlocking this bottom panel. Removing the bottom panel. Disconnecting the light, if equipped with the light. Some vans don't have that light. Here at the bottom of the door panel, we have 2 more T20 screws. Set the screws aside in a safe place so you don't lose them. Now we're going to pry the door handle cover off with the door handle. And we're going to want to use a nylon pry tool to do that so we don't damage the plastic. There it is. So we're going to use our pry tool to pry this black plastic handle cover off. Under that, we're going to have a couple more screws we got to take out. So there's 2 screws in here. These are larger. They're T30 screws. We're going to go ahead and remove those. Now that we've got the 2 T20 screws down here and the 2 T30 screws up here removed, we have to remove these screw cover caps. You want to be careful so that you don't scratch the plastic door panel. You've got T20s up here as well, and then this whole piece is going to pry off and lift up. The rest of this door panel is held on by clips, so we're going to go ahead and pop those clips. The clips are held on pretty strong, so we want to unclip that carefully and then go ahead and remove the door panel, disconnecting any of the connectors behind the panel. All right, we've got 3 more screws left. These 3 screws mount the mirror arm to the door. There's a screw cap cover here that we need to remove, and then there's 2 T30 screws up here. So there's 3 T30 screws total that we need to remove so that the mirror can, we can pull the mirror off of the door and then fish our cable through the mirror. There's a clip up top. There it is. All right. So we've got the 3 mounting screws removed there. We've got a little clip at the top here. The edge of the door gets in the way there, so you're going to want to pry that out so that you can lift and remove that clip. So it's not necessary to completely remove the mirror arm. I like to put some tape here so we don't scratch anything. We can let it hang like this. We're simply going to be fishing our camera harness through this hole here, down into this cavity. From there, we're going to fish up through the door boot. If you remove the speaker, it gives you a little more access to get your hand up here so you can guide your fish wire tool. We like to use a long zip tie to fish our wire through. It's a little tip. It makes things a little bit easier. So you can see I've got my long zip tie fished through the mirror cavity here. I'm going to tape the end of my camera harness onto that and then run that down into the door cavity. Here I've taped my camera harness to my zip tie and I'm just going to feed that through the mirror arm. And from there down into the door cavity. So I've got my camera harness fished through the door cavity, and now I'm going to take this harness and fish it up through the boot. I can reach my hand up here and grab it once it feeds through the boot here. So just basically go ahead and take your long zip tie and fish this straight up from the speaker cavity through the boot. Grab the other side with your hand, feed it through. You've only got enough length here to get through to that other side. Add your extension from there. So by removing the one side of the boot and not both sides of the boot, it makes it a lot easier to put the boot back together. You can see here I've used my zip tie to fish this up through that boot and down. So now I'm going to add the camera extension onto this and then run this into the dash cavity. So from this end of the camera cable, we're going to plug in our power camera extension cable. From here we're going to add our camera extension cable, and that is going to be the extension 150. Each cable is labeled. So 150 is going to be on your passenger side and 170 we're going to use for the driver's side. At this point we're going to replace the 3 T30 screws that we removed to remove the mirror arm. We can get the mirror arm re-secured to the door and then we can add the camera to the mirror cap. Okay, so now we're going to install the camera on the end of the mirror cap. Like we said before, our kit is compatible with either the standard mirrors or the extended version, the tow mirror. Both mirror caps are essentially the same. However, the angle that that camera is going to be sitting at is going to be a little bit different. We have these inserts, angled inserts. They're all labeled right hand, left hand, or right hand tow, or left hand tow. And you'll see that engraved on the end of the insert. What we want to do is take our camera lens, insert it into the insert, pop it into place. We can then pivot it, line our key up with a retaining ring here, which is keyed so that we get our horizon line perfect. All right, we want to make sure that the lens is completely seated, that our key is lined up and in place, and then we have 2 retaining screws that we want to insert here to lock that into place so that it doesn't move while you're driving. Just hand tighten that with a screwdriver. Make sure you don't strip that out. All right, we've added our retaining ring after we've inserted our camera lens and we've got it seated completely in and clipped into place. We want to add these 2 screws so that we lock this into place so it doesn't move while we're driving the car. That's just a #1 Phillips screwdriver. Now we want to just slide this into our mirror cap. And we've got one last screw that's going to secure that into place. All right, that's the passenger side. Now just repeat the process for the driver's side. All right, guys, here's a little tech tip. When you insert our camera lens into the camera insert, the appropriate insert, each one of the inserts is actually labeled right hand toe, or left hand toe. We want to take the little notch in the camera lens and line that up with the marking on the insert. Once we insert that, line that up, we then take the retaining ring with the key on it and line that up with the notch that's on the back side of the camera lens. After we do that, we screw everything together to secure it. All right, you can see I've got the camera installed on the mirror cap, and then I reinserted the turn signal indicator as well. That basically just slides into place. Now what I want to do is go ahead and reinstall that onto the mirror arm. Go ahead and replace the 4 T20 screws that you removed in the previous step. And go ahead and make our threaded camera connection. Thread the camera connection back on securely. Okay, now we got to make sure that we reconnect the defroster connectors and then simply snap the glass, the top piece and the bottom piece, back into the mirror housing. There it is. And we're going to do the same thing with the bottom piece of glass. So that side's complete right there. And you repeat that procedure on the driver's side. Okay guys, if you have a Sprinter van with a tow mirror, you've got these extended arms here. They're a little more difficult to fish our camera cable through that arm. What you're gonna wanna do is fish that through that lower arm. Take a long zip tie, tape your camera cable to that zip tie, fish it through the bottom. It helps to take the mirror and actually push the mirror inward. You'll see the entry point into the mirror mount, and then from there you can pull it through and fish down into the door cavity. Okay guys, we're in our 2016 Mercedes Sprinter van and we're going to go ahead and proceed to remove the radio. What we need to do is take a plastic trim pry tool, or removal tool, and pry the panels surrounding the radio. Prior to doing that, I like to use some blue painter's tape, tape up around that surface so that we don't scratch anything. I'll start at the top corner. Once I can get my fingers behind the panel, go ahead and use your fingers. There's no better tool. We can suspend the panel and let it just hang right below the climate controls. To remove the radio, we've got 4 T20 Torx screws once again. Go ahead and remove the 4 screws. It's also a good idea to go ahead and tape up the climate controls. We don't want to scratch anything. After all, it is a Mercedes Sprinter van. Once we've got the radio out in our hands, we're going to disconnect the connectors behind the radio panel. 2. This particular radio has 3 connectors. If it had a factory backup camera, it would have 4. Not to worry, it doesn't have a camera, but we're going to add one to it because we can do that with our kit. Go ahead and grab our primary radio interface harness and plug it into the factory connector. It's got a locking lever cam mechanism. I'm going to lock that into place. Make sure you hear that click and make sure that's snug. The other end of this harness is going to plug into our PAC Radio Pro module. From here, we can also plug in our VS41 switcher module. Now we're going to continue to route our camera extension harnesses up into this dash cavity and plug everything into our camera harness. All right, on this Sprinter van wasn't equipped with a factory backup camera, so fortunately Echomaster has part number PCAM SPL-N, which replaces the third brake light here. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. We've got 2 T20 Torx screws that we're gonna have to remove. Pop this out, slide our camera in. It's simple, we'll be done in minutes. Maybe, might take longer. With our PCAM camera, we have a 10-meter long cable, so even the longest Sprinter van is not a problem. We have a commercial quality cable that's shielded with commercial quality threaded connectors. What we need to do with our camera is actually transfer the LED bar that's in the factory third brake light and clip that into our camera. So we're still gonna use the same LED bar for the third brake light, but we're gonna add a night vision camera to the back here. Okay, on the factory third brake light lens, we need to basically pry out the LED light bar. It's clipped in all the way around. It looks like there's 8 of them on both sides, 4 on both sides. So once you get that out, you're gonna transfer that into our PCAM SPL-N third brake light camera. That's gonna snap into place here, and then this is gonna plug back into the factory connector that's up there in the van. So the factory harness, I'm plugging that back into the factory LED connector. Completely DOT approved. Department of Transportation. Okay, now that we have our camera extension harnesses routed up into our dash cavity, we want to make sure that we connect those to our harness appropriately. So the left side is for our, obviously for our driver's side blind spot camera. The one labeled right side is obviously for the passenger side blind spot camera. You're also going to have another one labeled front. That's if you're going to want to put a front camera on this vehicle. The way the front camera works is it has a manual switch that we can flip on. It'll engage the front camera at slow speeds under 8 miles per hour as you're pulling into a parking spot or something. You could also add a backup camera to that. The backup camera will work when the vehicle's in reverse. If you're adding a backup camera to the van, we can conveniently provide for you the 12-volt output and ground wire for the backup camera. So you're going to want to power it off of those 2 wires right here, and they're conveniently labeled reverse camera power. All right, if you are gonna add a front camera, we also provide a toggle switch to manually flip that front camera on. That's gonna engage the front camera only at speeds of under 8 miles per hour. It'll automatically disengage the camera once you exceed the 8-mile-per-hour speed limit. If you flip off the switch, the front camera will not be engaged at all. All right, guys, so basically we're finished at this point. We've mounted our cameras, our driver's side and our passenger side camera. We mounted a reverse camera, and we're gonna mount a front camera to this particular van. We've ran it all up into the cavity here. We've plugged everything into our camera harness, and now we're just basically gonna plug our factory radio panel back in, mount it, put the trim bezel back on, and test everything. We're good to go. All right. Replace the 4 T20 screws that you removed in the previous step.